What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unplayable. I'm here with Mike and the one and only Jimbo, ready to...
You forgot my name.
I did almost call you Jay, and I caught myself, and I was like, God, the one and only Jimbo, and we're just going to keep going. So we got some spoilers to talk about. You guys ready?
Yeah. So ready.
All right.
I'll try to give my trash takes if I'm going to be Jay today.
All right.
I can't look at this card. I'm sorry.
I have many thoughts, but let me read it first. 3 cost, Snap Wexley. It's a green hero ground unit, 2/5, resistance pilot. When played as a unit / on attack, the next resistance card you play this phase costs 1 less. And then he comes in as a pilot for 2, and he gives +2/+2. When played as an upgrade, search the top 5 cards of your deck for a resistance card, reveal it, and draw it. It's a rare. Who wants to go first?
Can we just...
That's a lot.
Can we just start with the elephant in the room? Why is there no bone synergy with this?
That's my thing. Mr. Bone.
I thought you were going to go somewhere else with it.
No, why we don't need to talk about the card. David, no, get on your soapbox, go.
Yeah, I'm going to get on an actual box, and I can't play Mr. Bones with his buddy, his creator, Snap Wexley, and it hurts me. It hurts my soul. It was sort of like when we got Afra, but we didn't get BT1 and 000, and
that was way worse.
At least they could come.
Well,
maybe there is a green hero Mr. Bones coming. There should be Mr. Bones in every set, honestly. But if it does make me sad. But
it is unfortunate.
I do like the card, for the record.
The card does a lot.
Yeah.
You really need to evaluate it as 2 different things, basically, right? It's like a 3 cost 2/5 that makes your stuff cheaper, or it's like a 2 cost 2/2 upgrade that lets you draw a card. Both seem pretty good, honestly. So yeah, the only thing iffy about this card is what he's doing behind the cockpit there.
Excuse you? So anyway, back to the actual text on the card. As you guys are traumatized, so sorry about that. Resistance synergy is starting to get some love. We'll talk about a couple other cards here in a second that are going down that path. 2/5 is an interesting stat line. We don't have a ton of 3 costs with that 2/5. We have obviously 3/5s is like the standard good 3 costs. So this is 1 less. So it really is just dependent on how good is the resistance synergy and do you want to build a deck around it? For his ground side, obviously his piloting side of that. We've seen tutors like that be really strong. Mon Mothma, for example, with Rebel is really good. Not like an auto include in every Rebel synergy, but it's really solid for anything that's going to be low on cards in hand and just needs to find the next piece.
Love it.
Yeah, I like that on the unit side. It's repeatable, so you're able to continually get benefit out of it as it attacks. And on the piloting side, I like that it replaces itself as a card, because it's one of the downsides of playing upgrades is you can really easily 2-for-1 yourself, and it just immediately negates that downside because you get it's not spending a card, which is super nice for a card like that.
Yep.
So I love the flexibility. Seems really strong.
There is a little bit of theme here in that you play Snap on 3. You don't really get the bonus. You don't really get the bonus there unless there's a 1 cost resistance card you want to play, which we're going to get into in just a second. But on the 4 resource turn, you'll be able to attack with Snap and then play Poe for 4 resources, and Poe and Snap are good buddies, and then you gotta dropping a 6/6 Poe Dameron on the 4 resource turn. I mean, that's what made Han 2 so strong for a while, is just deal with this Poe, but it was only 4 health at that point. This one's a full dude. So
yeah, that's cool.
All right. Speaking of resistance, we're going to get into a bunch of resistance stuff, so keep him in mind. BB-8, we've got 1 cost red hero 1/4 as just a normal unit, or piloting for 1 gives +1/+2. And when played as an upgrade, you may pay 2 if you do ready a resistance unit. And of course, this is resistance, droid, and pilot.
I got so excited when this card was spoiled. Yeah, this is the thing that makes me go, I want to make resistance work. The idea of the legendary Poe Dameron coming out as, the 6/6, but if you discard a card, you can attack for 8, readying it with BB-8 going onto something else, attacking for an additional 8. I'm like, okay, let's make it happen.
That's pretty crazy.
I don't know how realistic it is, but to me, I'm like, okay, if resistance is going to be good, I'm like, these two things seem real good if you can pull it off well.
I mean, it's literally like if you're playing against resistance and Poe comes down, I mean, you have to at least somewhat consider if you are at that point within 16 damage and you of dying, and you can't take care of the Poe in some way, exhausting, killing it, a sentinel or something. I mean, that could just be GG.
Yeah, you do need a ship to put this on as well. So
yeah, fair.
But yeah, I mean, that said, like, readying units is one of my favorite things to do in this game. Is if anybody knows my obsession with Madi.
I think you need to change your tag from Rebel Spy to like
to just
Madi
Admiral
fan
Madi.
28.
I am Admiral
Madi.
number one Madi fan.
Yeah, number one Madi fan.
But yeah, I mean, like, just the prospect of attacking with a ship, putting BB-8 on it, readying the ship, and then attacking with it again, just like, that's the simplest version of it, and that sounds super fun. So I'm excited about BB-8.
So the black one stocks are up. Is that what we're hearing from set 1?
Ooh, yeah, maybe.
I mean,
is that when played and when defeated you get to do the ability?
Isn't it? I thought it was on attack.
Or is it on attack?
Oh gosh,
clearly none of us have looked at this card in a long time.
It's been a long time.
Honestly, I don't think I have looked at that card since set 1. I'm looking it up now.
So while you're looking that up, a couple things I wanted to know about this card. Number one, the card Bravado kind of does something similar to BB-8 without the resistance tagline, and it's pretty easy to make the cost reduction come online for it to only cost 3.
Yeah, I've played
That's currently not seen a lot, but it's still a really powerful card if Voltron strategies are ever viable. The thing I do like about BB-8, though, a lot of concerns with this set is piloting is playing an upgrade, and there's a lot of easy upgrade hate that you can tech in your deck. But the thing I like about BB-8 is because it's a when played ability, you don't really care if they have that upgrade hate with this one. It did its job already just by putting it out there.
Yeah, if they're spending their upgrade hate on BB-8, you're probably happy.
Yeah.
Thrilled, honestly.
Black one is when played, when defeated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but okay, so future, or if there are resistance vehicles that probably exist that I'm not thinking of that have on attacks, get that makes this card better too.
Yep.
I'll say there actually aren't yet, but
let's
talk about one. Tactical heavy bomber, 5 cost, red hero space units, a 3/5 resistance vehicle transport. On attack, deal indirect damage equal to this unit's power to the defending player. If a base is damaged this way, draw a card.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is another thing that I'm happy to play BB-8 on and ready and get to do some more cool stuff. I'm excited to potentially try to red-green ambush this in and deal some indirect damage to the player. Those things are starting to kind of come together with a general theme and kind of that red-green strategy potential.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this seems really good in general, and I mean, especially good with piloting and increasing its power so that you are dealing more indirect damage. BB-8 obviously goes pretty well with this because you play this on turn 4 and then you attack with it, and then you put BB-8 on ready and attack again, and it has +1 power, so you're dealing like 7 indirect damage that turn, maybe drawing 2 cards.
Yeah, the draw card piece of this is so good.
Yeah.
That's the reason I like it. Honestly,
it's very sweet. I think it's a cool card for sure.
I mean, this is definitely going to be one of those ships that if you have a leader who wants to pilot something, this feels pretty strong, because if you
pretty good one.
Like, even I was trying to think of who is the strongest leader upgrade pilot. I don't remember. There may be other ones. I don't have the whole list in front of me, but like Wedge, the leader, not unit, the leader. I'm talking about Wedge leader.
Carry on. Sorry.
We literally can't go one.
That doesn't count.
We can't go one
does not
video
count.
Without talking
does
about
not count.
Wedge.
All right. But he flips onto this thing. Granted, he comes at 5, so maybe that's not when you want to do it. But if that's a 6, that's a 6/9, and you're dealing indirect damage Like when you hit, so you're doing 12 theoretically.
Not bad.
It's a lot of damage.
It's
a lot of damage.
It's pretty wild.
Sorry, if Mike is going to be Mahdi Lover, whatever the numbers are, if David's not Major Wedgie, I don't know what we're doing.
Moving on.
Wait. Hang on. But before we move on, this you can play this on turn 3 after you played your snap on turn 2 because you can reduce this cost.
Oh, true.
And then you get this out even earlier.
Yep.
Start doing some crazy stuff with it. So
okay, I'll bite.
I don't know. Resistance deck seems actually kind of sweet.
Yeah, I like it. Admiral Holdo, new leader on her leader side action. It's green hero. Pay 1 and exhaust. Give a resistance unit or a unit with a resistance upgrade on it +2/+2 for the phase. She flips on 6 to be a 3/8 resistance official. On attack, you may give another resistance unit or unit with a resistance upgrade on it +2/+2 for this phase. So we got Wat Tambor 2.0.
Yeah. Everyone's favorite Star Wars character, Admiral Holdo.
No, but this is really solid for the resistance strategy. The only like downside is if you're going red-green and you're playing with Holdo, you're having to use the red base, so you can't use ECL for it. But you could Tarkin Town, which there's still great reasons to play Tarkin Town. I am concerned about her head in this artwork as well. Just that neck is struggling to try to hold that thing up. I don't know what's going on there. Gosh, what a weird card.
So it truly is this Wat Tambor? Because Wat doesn't see a lot of play, or do you think it's better, worse, same?
Yeah, I kind of think it's worse, to be honest. But maybe I'm not reading it right.
I feel like like in my head I'm like not only goes in there, but I'm like, okay, live in the fantasy Christmas land dream over here. I have Poe Dameron out on 4 resources because we were able to get him out earlier, and then on somehow the 6th resource turn, I'm spending a resource to give it +2/+2, and then flipping Holdo and attacking with Holdo and giving it another +2/+2, and then attacking with it, and then readying with the BB-8 and doing all of those things to somehow deal 24 damage with Poe Dameron.
OTK, it's done.
OTK, baby, let's make it happen.
Someone's gonna.
But that is like the most telegraphed, like, hey, I'm about to kill you like this kind of move ever.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to really figure out how to keep Poe alive by attempting it, but you could do it.
That'd be pretty dope.
I like if you can actually, pull this off and get a +2/+2, like 2 extra damage on your opponent's base every turn by attacking, then maybe it's good. Like maybe you do like a ship turn, you do like an A-wing turn 1, and then you put snap on it on turn 2, and you attack for what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like, and you keep doing stuff like that. Maybe it's interesting, but also I don't like that it costs an action to give it +2/+2, and then you have to spend another action to attack with the unit. Yep. So I don't know. It just seems kind of slow, kind of clunky. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe she'll be cool in draft, but I have a hard time seeing this be a competitive leader.
I'm still on that flip turn. I really do think you could do some cool stuff with it. Like if you keep like bravados in your deck to be able, like, you just have to ready the big thing once. Again, it's so telegraphed. So you really have to figure out what are you going to play on there that could stay alive. It's going to be hard, but I'm like, if you could theoretically if you build something up to do that,
any control deck, like, you just lose, though. Like,
yeah.
And you're probably dead before she flips against aggro anyway. So,
but isn't that kind of thematic for what Holdo wants to do in the movie? She's got one plan. She's not going to tell anybody what that plan is. That is true. Darn it, when it's time to go, she's ready to go.
I can't argue with that one.
That's pretty wild. All right, let's keep going. We got a new base. It's a red rare base, 27 health thermal oscillator. Your minimum deck size is decreased by 5 cards. 45 cards.
That's probably broken, but I am not smart enough to figure it out.
Mike, I mean, it's not immediately obvious to a casual TCG player why this is a good thing.
Why this is a good thing.
So, break it down, coach.
I mean, there's some math involved, which Jim is probably much better equipped to handle than you or I. But
Definitely
the fewer cards you have in your deck, the more likely you are to draw the cards that you want in any given situation. And
like if you need the Poe,
that's just good.
If you need the Poe BB-8 combo to go off, having 5 less
you're
cards.
More,
in the deck
you're a certain percentage
BB-8.
points more likely to get those. To get those together. It's a very interesting card because the benefit is not like super obvious like that. It's like other bases you get +5 health, or you get to do a cool ability. This is literally just making your deck more consistent. But in a card game, making your deck more consistent is a really good way to win more games. So, you're paying 3 health to do that. Maybe that's worth it. Maybe that's not worth it. But I don't know. 5 cards is what, 10% of your deck. So you have like a 10% smaller deck. That's potentially significant. Someone else will do the math and figure it out. It won't be me.
Can I go nerd mode for a second?
Yeah, do it.
Perfect. All right, class, welcome. So first thing is there's a wonderful tool that you guys can look up called a hypergeometric calculator. Essentially what you do is you can put in, hey, I'm looking to see how many like turn one plays do I need to put in my deck so that I can consistently draw one on turn one. That's kind of the math that we're doing here. So by making it from 50 cards down to 45 cards, like Mike was saying earlier, the consistency just goes up. However, it's not just like you can keep going lower and lower and lower, and in theory, your deck is just better. Like, if your deck is only 5 cards, you're not going to win the game. So obviously, there's some sort of breakpoint of what is actually the optimal deck size to win the game. And so for there, it's just as you play games, you kind of know roughly what turn you're trying to win on. And in theory, that's number of cards ideally you'd want in your deck to make that happen. So you could get all the cards you need and then play them all out and win the game that way. So all that to say, it does still require the math to figure out exactly how much does this benefit the deck consistency. The one thing I'll say about this game, as opposed to some of the other games, is there's not a ton of combo decks yet. As in, there's basically no real combo decks yet. But as we get more sets, those become more possible. And so obviously having less cards in your deck means you are much more likely to assemble the pieces you need to make those combos happen. So it's normally the most beneficial for things like that. However, just in general, making your deck more consistent, getting closer to, let's say you're trying to win the game on turn 6. In theory, that's 6 plus an additional 10 cards because you're drawing 2 each turn. 16 cards is what you'd be looking for to win the game, essentially. So we have a ways to go before we're at that threshold of winning the game that way. So yes, lowering the deck size is really beneficial.
So, okay. I'm curious. What decks are 50 cards, right? Right.
Correct.
And how many like 2 cost, how many turn 1 plays do people usually put in? It's like 12, right? Like,
yeah, 12 is a standard for if you want a 95% chance of starting a game in between your opening hand and a mulligan, drawing 1 turn 1 play.
Why am I struggling here? Because okay, I'm using hypergeometric calculator, which I have used before.
Yeah,
we've said calculator twice in this episode already, guys.
And only wedge once, so you get an additional 2. Don't you worry. There will be more wedge conversations than calculators.
Okay, you have a 50 card deck. You draw 6 cards in your opening hand. There are 12 successes in the population, so 12 turn 1 plays, and you're looking for at least one of those. It's telling me that there's an 82% chance of drawing 1 or more.
That's with no mulligan.
Oh, okay. So it's actually 12 cards.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Well,
it's like 6 really, and then 6.
So essentially what you do is you do 1 minus that total and then multiply that by, or multiply that by itself.
Okay, now you lost
2 opportunities.
But, okay, I'm just going to, just out of curiosity.
It's roughly 95%. Yeah.
If I go down to 45 cards in the deck instead of 50, which is what this card is allowing you to do, it goes up like 4%. It's a 4% chance increase. So I can have like 11 cards in my deck, or I don't know, between 10 and 11 cards. Obviously you can't have between 10 and 11 cards, but between 10 and 11 turn 1 plays in your deck to I guess see the benefit of it. But that doesn't seem like that much. So maybe this isn't enough of a decrease in deck size for it to be worth it.
I feel like, though, in general, you're likely to get rid of one turn 1 play, which most of them are not game winning. So it's like you're okay to do. That's usually some of the worst cards in your deck. And then from there, you get rid of the 4 worst cards in your deck.
Okay.
So that's how I would try to look at it. It's like you're getting rid of one turn 1 play, maybe 2 turn 1 plays, and then your next 3 to 4 worst cards that you actually don't need. They're just kind of filling up space.
Interesting.
So,
all right. Well, someone's much smarter than me will figure out if this card's good or not.
Perfect. David, time to wake back up.
Y'all done? If you say calculator one more time.
Calculator.
Hey, we're done. We're done.
Gosh. All right. Desperate Commando.
Speaking of calculators.
Blue ground unit. 2/2 resistance trooper. When defeated, you may give a unit -1/-1 for this phase. At first glance, this feels like okay, draft fodder, but you could just throw this into a battlefield marine and trade if you really just want
it trades into anything with 3 health. That's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The downside, though, is there's a lot of 2/2 shields coming out, and this does not trade with the 2/2 shields.
Yeah.
It does not do that. Yeah.
It's also funny because it feels like the blue turn 1 plays so far have been the weakest stat lines, and this is keeping on trend with that.
Yep.
But it's just a generic blue, so it makes sense that it would be slightly lower powered.
A little bit more draft. All right. We've got the iconic, the one and only Radis. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, this is Holdo's ship.
7 cost, green hero, ship 8/6, resistance vehicle, capital ship. While you control another resistance card unit, upgrade or leader, this unit gains Sentinel, and when defeated, deal damage equal to this unit's power to an enemy unit. Any enemy unit, anywhere.
Just like in the movie.
You could throw this, you could throw this in a whatever.
Yeah, you throw this at the other Star Destroyer, and then that's great. It explodes.
Yeah.
That's how math works. Go science.
This card's weird.
Yeah.
I like Sentinel in space, so like it's got that going for it.
Yeah.
You're putting this in a resistance deck, so you're fine with that. It's the when defeated is fine.
It's only good. Well, it is cross arena, so that's nice. You could do it to you can deal 8 damage to a leader. That sounds cool.
Yep.
Maybe this card's
does
good.
Kill Snoke.
I don't know.
Snoke would bring this down to a 6/4. It would kill Snoke still.
It would still kill it.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I mean, I think this being piloted is pretty nasty. I mean, if you're already at 8, I mean, you're probably swinging for 10.
Yeah,
it's one that you can't obviously be dead the moment you play it, so you're probably already a little bit ahead. So it's a little bit of a get you to the finish line kind of card. For 7, if it's like I'm playing this down and it's not doing anything right then and there, it better be helping me win the game somehow.
Yeah.
So. I guess like question is like what deck actually wants this card?
Well, you see, Mike, you play this out of aspect in the new Thrawn, so you can trigger when defeated twice.
Perfect. And then you can I kill everything.
I mean, come on. It's better than.
I mean, we say that jokingly, but also that's not terrible.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
I don't know. I mean, I like stuff that you can play at 7. That if they have Fell the Dragon or whatever removal, like you kind of punish them too. So now if they don't have any units, if it's a control deck and they're just removing your stuff, it does feel pretty bad.
Yeah, you sideboard this out.
But I don't know.
I do like that Green Hero has more big ships to play. Like Home One's already like just such a staple.
And that's an 8.
That you can start like hedging a little bit more towards that strategy of like big things on both sides of the field. That's really been its biggest struggle into control, like more controlling decks, is it just doesn't have the same late game to be able to keep up with it. And so more opportunities I think is good.
7 for Green Hero is pretty much just Ewing reinforcement. Right. And there's nothing else, is there? General Rican is 6. Like I can't think of anything
nothing else super exciting, I don't think.
That
Clone,
level.
if you wanted to.
Well, that's not green. I'm just saying Green Hero, but
no, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Well, cool. Let's keep going. Oh, by the way, you could play this in a Piet deck, and you could out of aspect, and because it's a capital ship, get it cheaper. So basically, what we're doing is we're playing Thrawn Piet Twin Suns with the Radis.
With Radis,
Yes.
perfect.
Yeah. The Radis was a part of the dark side all along.
I mean, honestly. Sentinel, you have to have more resistance cards.
Sounds good.
All right. Black Squadron Scout Wing. It's a 5-cost yellow hero space unit, 4/6, which is a great stat line to avoid takedowns and fell the dragon. Resistance vehicle fighter. When you play an upgrade on this unit, you may attack with this unit. It gets +1 for this attack. I love that kind of hotshot blaster, snapshot reflex type of.
This is the card that I want to play with BB-8.
So does that work the way that we want it to?
I think so. You put BB-8 on the unit, it readies, and then you get to attack, I guess.
Well,
I don't know. I guess maybe
if
not.
This was already ready, if you play BB-8 on it, can you attack and then
I would
ready
do it
BB-8?
after you've already attacked with it once. Like you attack with it once, then you put BB-8 on it, ready it, and then attack again. Right.
But if BB-8 does work the way we want it to, it could attack for 12 because you have this out ready already. You play BB-8 on it, you attack for 6 now.
Oh, and you get to do it twice?
Potentially. I don't know.
I cannot imagine that that's how it would work.
I would need to look at BB-8 again for the when do you deal, like when are you paying the 2 resources?
Could you attack with it and then ready it basically after you attack with it?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I mean, you're just getting an additional +2 if that's the case.
Yeah, I have no idea.
When we're recording YouTube. This is where we need like an edit of just like a judge on the screen calling a flag on the play. But I think this is great. I think it's really strong. It's resistance. Cool. I love, again, the 4/6 stat line I think is very important to avoid a lot of like typical removal. So this great design. And that's going to look great in hyperspace. Those asteroids.
It's also an odd costed card, so the Han
there it is.
Yes,
works pretty well with this, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, and so is BB-8.
Yeah.
Does it count? So when you play an upgrade, if you're deploying a leader as an upgrade?
I have no idea. That probably doesn't count as playing an upgrade, but maybe it does. I don't know.
But it didn't they change the rule
you're not
for leader deploying to say that?
Are they being played now?
Well, I think we need to look at the leaders that are pilots as well to see what does the text say, because it may say instead of deploying, you may play this as an upgrade.
Ooh, maybe. Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
Let me see.
When deployed as an upgrade on Han is what it says.
When deployed as an upgrade?
Deploy this. It says, and then
deploy this leader as an upgrade. Yeah, so you're deploying.
I would say it's not played.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's playing. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But they could have designed and printed this card before they changed those rules, in theory.
Yeah.
Also, there's 2 new spoilers, so we'll tack those on at the end.
Oh, great. All right, next up, we've got the Dakar.
Nailed it.
Dequar.
Well, colder.
DQAir. Cargo frigate.
Perfect.
5-cost blue hero space unit, 6/7. Woo! Resistance vehicle capital ship, but this unit gets -1, -0 for each damage on it.
That's a lot of stats for 5-cost.
That's a big butt.
Yeah. I feel like if you just get to deal 6 damage to a unit with this once, it's like pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then if it survives and you're playing a deck that can heal it, or
Rose
just
Tico.
like throw a shield on this thing first, like Luke likes this card. That sounds pretty sweet. So
that's awesome.
It's an interesting one. I think it's cool.
Okay. Turbo Laser Salvo, 7-cost green. It's a tactic, which is starting to matter, I feel like. Choose an arena, a friendly space unit deals damage equal to its power to each enemy unit in that arena.
Bad card.
Yeah.
Terrible.
You're right. Carry on. Next card. So there's this fun card called Overwhelming Barrage. It comes out at 5. You have to have a unit on play already. It does buff at +2/+2, which is nice for potential attacks in, and it deals damage split up. This card doesn't give the buff, but it just does the damage to all enemy units on that side.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the obvious comparison people are going to be making for kind of the spread damage at much heavier cost. Obviously, if you have a capital ship and you are playing this card and that capital ship is decimating your opponent because they're silly and only playing ground units or only playing space units, greatest card ever invented, 10 out of 10 stars.
Okay, there's two things. One thing is that it's neutral, like it's not a villain card, like Barrage is, so that makes it more flexible. Second thing is like, how much damage do you feel like you need to do to make this worthwhile?
That's a great point, because I do feel like Bombing Run was a little bit of a disappointment, and that was 3.
Yeah, so that's 5 for 3, right?
Yeah, 5 for 3.
But it did hit yourself as well.
True.
Yeah.
I was thinking 4.
I was gonna say 5 was my break point for
5 was
good.
kind of my hunch, but yeah, I don't know.
Almost like you're playing this card in a deck that is playing a lot of big stuff.
Yeah, but you got to play that big stuff, have that stuff survive, and then play this.
Right.
That is the dream. It's just
well, that's only
and it
like
has to be in the arena
it.
that if they're lane dodging you, it does feel pretty bad.
Oh, it is in that arena, huh?
Yeah. So that's where I'm.
Oh,
wait, hang on.
A friendly space unit deals damage.
Why wouldn't it say
each unit? Oh no, wait.
No, it starts with choose an arena.
Oh
yes, thank you.
Oh, got it. Okay, I totally thought it was like that unit
only space.
That unit's arena. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because it says a friendly space unit, so it would then if it was that unit's arena, it would have to only be space.
Right. Reading is hard sometimes. Okay,
that's your thing.
Yeah. Okay, this card. All right, so this card is better than I thought in general.
How is Wedge breaking this card?
All right, let me break it down for you. First, you open your calculator. Then
hold on. You can't say calculator to give yourself another Wedge conversation later. That's not how this works. All right.
It's good. All right.
The card does what this set wants to do, which is just like, go really big in space and then take advantage of it. So it seems like that's the kind of thing that they're pushing. This card will probably be pretty good in the decks that have stuff like that.
It's good.
I don't know. Yeah.
Profundity. It's a 9 cost. Woo. Red Hero Space Unit. And it's an 8/9 Rebel vehicle capital ship. We haven't seen Rebel in a minute. We've been all Resistance. With Overwhelm, and when played / when defeated, choose a player. They discard a card from their hand. Then, if they have more cards in their hand than you, they discard a card from their hand. All right.
Legendary.
Cool. I have been waiting, Jim, for my Wedge comment to be for this
You get 2
card.
more.
Oh, God.
I set you up for the last one, so that didn't count as one. This is now your second Wedge conversation.
Yeah.
You get 1 more to make sure there's more Wedge than calculator.
It already has Overwhelm.
9, 10.
So if it's already Overwhelm, so then you get to hit 9, 10 with Overwhelm, Ambush, hit their hand. I mean, gosh, it just writes itself.
That's cool.
It's Rebel, so you could do this. You could put in a Leia deck, then you just take initiative, and the next action you hit them for $1 billion, and you win the game.
I like that Leia is becoming more tempo potential. It felt very like aggro dependent / you have to keep a board to keep up with Sabine, where some of the more late game Rebels is letting it kind of hedge a little bit more into just being good tempo throughout the game.
I like that Hero is getting more control cards like this, because this is very control-y. Like stripping your opponent's hand multiple times is kind of nasty, especially in like a control mirror. But I think Hero still has a ways to go in terms of like being a controlled.
Well, we're about to get into a card that might change your mind, Mike.
Okay, I'm excited.
I don't know if it's next, but it's not next.
The Mist Hunter!
It's not next. I have no idea what order it is. All right, 3 cost, yellow villain, space unit, 3/4 underworld vehicle transport. On attack, if you played a bounty hunter or pilot card this phase, you may draw a card.
More card draw. This seems really good.
Oh, yeah.
If you're playing bounty hunters or pilots.
Yeah.
Everybody know who the pilot of the Mist Hunter is.
They already spoiled, we have Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Dangar, Bosk, pilots, bounty hunters.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. I mean, you can just play your typical good bounty hunter stuff anyway, like your Forlom, Zuckuss, your Toro, whatever. Like, those are all still bounty hunters.
Yeah.
This is just good stats in space. at that turn 2 play.
Sure. A
So
little slow, but yeah.
Punching one is amazing, and boss decks in particular, same stat line. This feels like the standard for kind of what you're looking for.
Sure.
Yeah.
Here's the one I was talking about. Ahsoka Tano.
Oh, yes. This card's crazy.
Yeah. 4 cost, yellow hero. Absolutely amazing art. Love this. Fringe Force. She's a 3/5, and when played, an opponent discards a card from their hand. If it's a unit, you may exhaust a unit. Just wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool card for sure.
Yeah.
Just
it's doing a lot.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, even if it just said when played, an opponent discards a card from their hand,
that's still
I would play that.
Still good.
And then it's like, oh, and then also you put them in a weird spot, and you could exhaust them too.
And she's force traded, like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, if you're going like a yellow red control kind of thing, you get a lot of discard. Dude. You get a lot of, you get Spark of Rebellion, you get Force Throw, you get this,
Pillage.
You get Pillage, you get Kira, you get a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
so that's pretty scary.
I think the Quinlan Voss red, like there's lots of pretty awful things I think that are coming for that archetype, and I'm excited to play it.
The 4-cost space is getting very saturated though with good cards.
True.
So you really have to start to figure out
K2SO,
Kira and Ahsoka are all going to be fighting for that same spot. This obviously lets you lean way heavier into the force strategy. I do think there needs to be a little bit more force payoff to totally go all in on that.
Sure.
Obviously you're playing force throw in this deck, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I would need just a little bit more force payoffs to pick this card over the others just because it's force.
Yeah. Like there's going to be scenarios where if you're playing her on a resource turn where you have more than 4 and you put your opponent in the situation where like they have to really think about what they're discarding, because one, if it's like, if it's the unit, then it's, then it's exhaust, but also you can kind of expect a force throw to follow. And so whatever thing you don't discard might be hitting you for more damage.
Yeah.
Which is kind of insane.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I'm like, if you get on the Quinlan flip turn with this card, they have like 3 cards in hand. I feel like is pretty reasonable. Obviously, like you play this, they discard a card, they play the card they were wanting to play, and then you can force throw their last one to kill that thing. I'm just like, oh, this is nasty. Yeah, I want to play this more on the Quinlan flip turn than I do on turn 4. And I think that's why I'm actually okay with it oversaturating a little bit on that 4-cost space.
I love it. Great card.
Yeah.
We got a new leader, everybody. Jim, I know this is your favorite character from the Star Wars lore.
Nope, never claimed that.
The book about Phasma is actually pretty good, by the way. If you,
I've read it.
Yeah.
Book of Phasma needs to be the next offshoot by Disney Plus.
All right, Captain Phasma, Chrome Dome, great subtitle or whatever that is. Red villain action exhaust. If you played a first order card this phase, deal 1 damage to a base. It's free, guys.
Yeah, I like free. It does take an action though.
It does. But so does Sabine. So does Vader.
Sure.
That realm. And then you flip at 5 into a 4/6, a first order and trooper on attack. If you played another first order card this phase, you may deal 1 damage to a unit. If you do, deal 1 damage to a base.
Is it bad that I kind of like this leader?
I think she's cool.
Yeah,
I think it is. It's very dependent on, is first order going to be good? Like, are the first order cards going to be par for the course? Like, hey, I'm down to put these in a deck and they're good.
I think we're already seeing first order looks good.
Yeah. So if you're going to compare it to Sabine, Sabine is dealing damage to both parties. This is just dealing damage one way. I think this card sets up really well with all of the indirect damage that's coming into the game, because they're going to have to make a lot of like really weird decision points of, okay, well, I don't want no board because I got to clear what they're playing, but I can't just go all to base because they're clearly trying to hit my base here. And then the on attack on the unit side, like 4/6 is fine. It is above takedown, which is nice. I don't know. It seems pretty good. I like it. It feels like some good tempo, and I would imagine there's just going to be some ways to kind of get to like 27, 28 health and get enough ping damage to make it happen.
Yeah, she seems pretty solid. The ping damage is sweet. Like, Just like having a leader like this that sort of asks you to build a deck in a very linear, specific way, I think is good for the game as well. Like a new player can take this and just be like, okay, just smash first order cards together and make a deck and do reasonably well. So like I like this card exists. I don't understand why it's rare. Like this is a very simple ability.
I think it's just because in draft you could just totally miss. Like you could get this and never, you could have 3 first order cards in your deck.
That's true. That's fair.
Yeah, that's kind of where my head was at with it. So, and I think Leia in set 1 was the perfect build around card like that. The amount of people in my locals that built Leia because they were like, they like the unit, or they like the leader, and it had a very easy to build around kind of synergy.
Easy. Yeah,
obviously Phasma is not the same level of Leia, or even in the same ballpark, but it seems like a very straightforward, like, oh yeah, I could build this and be fine.
I kind of like that in the set that we've got. It's like the Han Solo is like play all odds. You've got Holdo play resistance. You got Thrawn play when defeated. Phasma play first order. Like there are a lot of those, and people do like that kind of stuff. So
gives you a clear direction to go in, and also I think helps separate the leaders from each other when they're a bit more narrow and more specific on what they care about.
Yep. All right, let's look at some of those first order cards. General Hux, 2-cost red villain. Ground unit 1/4 first order and official. Each other friendly first order unit gains raid 1 and action exhaust. If you played a first order card this phase, draw a card.
I mean, goes right into the Phasma deck. You're trying to play first order cards, so you can now deal a damage and draw a card if you play that.
And those little first order stormtroopers that we saw last time that are like the 1/2/1s, 1 played, 1 defeated, deal an indirect. Giving them raid 1. Woo.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet. Like you play 2 of those turn 1 and then you followed up with Hux turn 2. That's a lot of damage.
And you're drawing cards to recycle your hand. Like it's making sense for what you're trying to do here.
Yeah. I like him. He gives your Kylo leader raid 1 as well, which is fun.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
and then when you spend all your cards because all your cards cost 1,
I'm looking.
Must be. He has to be, right? He's literally.
It would make sense, unless they didn't want to do first order. You got it, Jim?
He has to.
My internet's being slow, but I'm trying.
I think Swooty B is down.
Okay.
Everybody's crashing it.
They didn't want us to find out what we all know to hopefully be true.
Yeah, it must be true. If it's not true, I'll eat a Kylo card.
Hey, that's a rare, man. I know how you throw your rare leaders out, and then you have to open 2.5 boxes to find another Yoda leader. So, this seems great.
I like it.
Yeah, solid. Speaking of first order, Special Forces TIE Fighter, 2-cost red villain space unit, 2/3 first order vehicle fighter. When played, if an opponent controls more space units than you, ready this unit.
Interesting.
Yeah. I feel like this is an ability you don't try to play around too much.
Yeah.
Like it's great when it happens, but you're playing this card because it's a first order card.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't typically put this in other decks outside of Phasma, I think. That purple is going to look good as a hyperspace.
Yes.
But I don't know. It's pretty underwhelming to me outside of limited and first order synergy.
The one thing I think that this does have going for it is even just watching the FFG live stream, and I think Garbage Rollers, they printed proxy spotlight decks, is the awkwardness of you've got a leader who wants to deploy, but you don't have a ship to put it on that's ready. So you feel like you're deploying and not getting value out of your leader right away. I think there are some situations where you might say, I really want to put my leader on a ship to get value out of this turn. This could potentially be a surprise. Come in ready. And then my leader jumps on it, but maybe a little niche, but it does seem like having a vehicle that can ready is going to be a good thing.
Also, don't worry, guys. Kylo leader, Kylo unit, and his TIE silencer are all first order.
Oh yeah, the Kylo's TIE, that's a staple. So
yeah, another good one.
Yep. All right. Now we got the First Order TIE Fighter, 1 cost, green villain space unit. It's a 2/1 First Order vehicle fighter, and while you control a token unit, this unit gains raid 1.
Yeah.
Neat. This is a really weird one to me because just thematically, because the token units are not First Order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like,
but dude, that would have been nuts with Hux.
It's weird.
If all your token units.
That'd be very strong, but it'd be like, I don't know. It's weird that this card cares about token units specifically. But it seems fine.
I think it makes sense.
3/1, like a 1 cost 2/1 in space has been played before, and this sometimes is a 3/1.
Yep.
And it's First Order, so you're getting synergy with your stuff. So it's
the fact that like the battle droids are separatists, the clone troopers are Republic, they get those synergies.
Right.
But clearly there's some cards in this that they're like, we can't get these synergies. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of cool that it's just a token unit. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
like a
TIE fighter or
whatever. It could
whatever.
be a battle droid or a clone or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's fine.
I'm probably not playing this. Like, I don't see green villain as a aggro style deck that I'm trying to build around. And there's so many things that ping damage that I'm like, this thing doesn't stay alive.
Well, it seems like First Order is being split between red and green. So like Phasma might force you into like red green.
Yeah, figuring out a way to make it work.
Yeah, and let's talk about Phasma.
Like this Phasma.
Yes. Let's talk about this Phasma.
This Phasma. Got it.
All right, we got
both, but yeah.
We've got a ground unit, 5 cost, green villain, Captain Phasma, 5/6 First Order and Trooper. When played and on attack, you may give another First Order unit +2/+2 for this phase. So the obvious synergy is giving any ambush. Unfortunately, Wedge cannot give Phasma ambush.
I mean, that is kind of disgusting though. Like you if you're playing Phasma ECL, like you just flip Phasma and then play this ECL it into something, and your Phasma leader is now like an 8/10 or whatever for the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's pretty gross.
Yep. That's and it's hitting for 5, so it's probably killing something.
Yeah.
That's
a very sweet combo there. I'm putting timely interventions in there. I'm playing ECL. Mm-hmm. We're gonna have some fun.
Yep. Love this card. Moff Gideon, the one and only 4 cost yellow villain. I know everything is his subtitle. 5/4 Imperial official. When this unit deals combat damage to an opponent's base, each unit that opponent plays this phase costs 1 more. It is a rare.
Has anyone in any movie or TV show ever said that phrase and not immediately get blindsided by something?
No.
That's the only thing you can do. Be proven wrong. Okay, when this card first got spoiled, it was very funny. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, yellow villain, of course, getting more stuff. And I'm like, well, they have to print cards for yellow villain. That doesn't mean that it's broken by default.
I kind of don't like this card.
Yeah, 5/4 is a weird stat line. It really is. There's a lot of things that can kill it. There's a lot of ping damage going out right now.
You have to deal damage to your opponent's base to get value out of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so ambushing doesn't help as far as finding ways to make this thing trigger.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. And you kind of have to go first too, so you can like attack your opponent's base before they play units. So I don't know.
I see that. I think one of the decks that actually our Discord was chatting about that I thought that's an interesting place is in a Palp Yellow shell, because you can drop the Emperor's Royal Guard on 3
before this comes
and
out.
And then you drop this and it's a 3/5 Sentinel standing in the way of this, and then so because Palp Yellow wants to go long anyways, so forcing your opponent to pay 1 more for stuff. I don't play Palp, so I can't tell you if that's like a legitimate strategy, but it seems interesting at least. 5/4 that on that stat line, like we saw that on Saw Gerrera in set 1 for double red, and Saw didn't really see much play.
No, I'd rather, if it was a 4/5, I'd be a lot more excited.
Because
100%.
Again, someone in our Discord said he's like right in the perfect like target zone for all of the removal. It's like open fire, take down, fell the dragon, all of them deal enough. A ping plus Tarkin Town is
Yeah, I think it's just a really bad style line, to be honest.
And there's a lot of
you get nothing
by
you get nothing the turn that you play this.
Yeah. I don't think this card's very good, honestly. I think it's way too weird to play around. You need some ways to like ready it immediately, and I just too much that I'm trying to make happen for an okay ability. Like, yes, messing with your opponent's resources is really good, but there's a lot of things that you can play around with that too. I mean, you can just, if you're in a control deck, you don't really care that much. You're playing removal anyway. So if it was like all cards your opponent plays, I'm like, yeah, let me build around this and make that work. I think Del Mico was another card that I was thinking about that had a similar kind of idea that I think a lot of people were really high on Del Mico.
Costs one more or whatever.
And nobody plays Del Mico. And so that's even with Restore.
But not anymore, yeah.
I mean, even in set 1, it was like a 1 or 2 of maybe in some of the decks that it was in. Yeah. But it wasn't like a staple blue villain kind of card.
Yeah. All right, we've got spoilers that dropped right in the middle of this. We're jumping right into it. Live reactions. Here we go. We got Frisk. That's a weird name. 2 cost, red hero, 3/2. Wow. That seems like a great stat line. New Republic in pilot. +2/+2 with as a pilot. He costs 2 as a pilot. When played as an upgrade, you may defeat an upgrade that costs 2 or less.
That's interesting. If this was resistance card, it'd be way more interesting for this set.
I mean, most of the pilots are 2 or less, right? So you just literally...
Well, the upgrade cost is 2 or less, but the card's cost is sometimes more.
But since you may defeat an upgrade that costs 2 or less, so you're...
Yeah, but you're still looking at the card's cost, not the piloting cost.
That's okay. I'm already anticipating a lot of fights and weeping and tears on pre-release because that is confusing.
Yeah. Seems fine.
Okay. Sure.
I don't know. Are you playing this over your other 2 cost cards in Red Hero? Probably not.
No. Because what are you trying to... Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask if the New Republic symbol was chill with it being the yellow and the blue, or if it was supposed to be inversed, or if that mattered.
Okay. All right.
That's all I was gonna ask.
That's some good live reactions to new cards. Here we go. We got Fight Fire with Fire. 1 cost, red event, Gambit. Choose a friendly unit and an enemy unit in the same arena. If you do, deal 3 damage to each of them.
This card is nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay.
Wow. It's like I don't know, Daring Raid, but better sometimes.
Sure.
But I mean, obviously can't hit bases. But I mean, Jay's not here, but I got to represent the grit crew. And you got cards that have 4 health and grit.
Yep. And
you turn them into 6 attack dudes because they're like 3/4s, and it's pretty sweet.
And not just that, but our new blue best friend Thrawn, all his when defeated stuff.
Oh, true.
Because I was talking about the Thrawn when defeated kind of red shell, and it's like you can do another 3 way to double trigger a when defeated.
It's another way to kill your own Mahdi too.
There it is.
This also is really sick with the new Ventress leader, which shockingly is the first time I've been able to talk about her. But
we took care of it. We said everything need to be said about it. Don't worry.
She obviously gives whatever she's on grit, or she has grit herself, so you can pair this with her and potentially deal a bunch of damage while removing your opponent's units from the board.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Also, it's like if you have a shielded unit, it's not too big of a deal just to pop your shield and then kill their thing.
Also
like
great.
One damage kill spell a lot of times is going to be really solid. Like I'm playing Daring Raid in a lot of lists right now because 3/5 is such a standard stat line that I want to play the Daring Raid and then I'm going to Tarkin Town. It gets sort of DJ right now, all the 3/5 for 3s, which is great. So I'm like dealing an extra damage, having that extra flexibility to go up to 6. Yes, please. I want that.
Yeah, that's
pretty sick.
That's awesome. All right. Well, that'll do it for today. Mike, thanks so much for gracing us with your presence again 2 weeks in a row. It's really kind.
I'll have to make a habit of it.
And Jay,
truly an honor.
Jay, you're dead to us. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.